guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to The Wandering Reader. Today I'm going to be doing my top books of 2018 video. It has finally arrived. So I'm going to be talking about 9 books that were my favourite books from 2018. So let's jump in. It was interesting going through all of the books that I read in 2018 to kind of put together my list for this video. I did have quite a few more 5-star reads than were on this particular list, but I thought it was interesting going through because I'm kind of thinking, actually, would I call that a favourite? I probably wouldn't call it a favourite. So it did make me reflect a little bit on the books that I do give 5 stars to and whether they're necessarily worthy of a 5-star rating. But then I also thought about, you know, just because I give them 5 stars doesn't mean that they're necessarily a favourite. So yeah, that was just an interesting kind of thing that was going through my mind that you may not be interested in. But anyway, we're going to go through this list and the order that I've chosen is the order that I've read them in during the year. So from the earliest in 2018 all the way up to the latest in 2018. So the first book that I want to talk to you about today is The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman, and I'll put a picture of it up here so you guys can see it. I have actually lent this book to my sister-in-law, so I have a physical copy of it with me, so hopefully she likes it. This follows a couple who live on a remote island off the southwest coast of Australia, and they are looking after a lighthouse. And one day they find a boat washed up on the shore, and in the boat is a dead man and a live crying baby. And it's about the decision that they make to do with what they do with this dead man and this baby, and kind of the consequences of that decision and how it kind of takes their lives down a particular path. I really loved this book. It was really emotional, and in fact that's going to be a bit of a trend in this video. When I was looking through my list, I did think to myself, actually the books that I've put on my favourite lists are mainly ones that have kind of given me a good gut punch when it comes to the emotional kind of level of the book. So this one is no exception. I found myself absolutely sobbing towards the end of the book, really invested in the characters and what was going on in their lives, and yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. This is one that I buddy read with Lisa from Books and Smiles, and she had exactly the same opinion as me, so yeah, an absolute favourite. If you haven't read it yet, you really need to. I still haven't got around to watching the film, which is ironic because I was reading this because the theme of that particular month for my TBR was kind of book to movie adaptations, and I do have the DVD downstairs but just haven't found time to watch it. So yeah, really fantastic. Please go and read it. The second one on my list is Starfish by Akemi Dawn Bowman. I've done a whole separate review video of this, so I will leave that links in the cards for you if you want to go and watch that. But basically this follows a character called Kiko, and she has really bad anxiety, and it's mostly brought on by the fact that she doesn't have a particularly supportive family. She feels really awkward in social situations, and just that she finds it difficult to communicate with people and to make friends and things like that. And the reason that this was such a favourite for me is because I just really connected to Kiko's character. I really felt like her character I shared some of the traits of her character. Some of the experiences that she was having as a teenager were ones that I had as a teenager, and I really connected to her on that kind of level. Plus the story itself is absolutely fantastic, and it deals with a lot of really important issues. You know, the importance of family versus friends, finding your way in the world, dealing with issues like anxiety. Yeah, and I just thought Akemi Dawn Bowman had a lot of really good things to say about that. Her second book, Summer Bear Blue I think it is, came out towards the end of 2018. I really want to pick that one up. I haven't had the opportunity to yet, but this one, absolutely brilliant. Number 3 on my list is Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. This is one that I did another body read of with Kerry Ann from Woman vs Books. We read this in April last year. I absolutely adored it. So this basically tells a story of Eleanor and Park, and Eleanor and Park go to the same high school, Eleanor hasn't been to the high school for a little while, so the first day that she gets on the bus to go, it's been about a year I think since she last attended school, and she ends up sitting next to Park on the bus. And it's about the relationship that forms between Eleanor and Park, and they are two characters or two people that you probably wouldn't put together necessarily, but their relationship is just so sweet. They're so caring towards each other, and just the things that they do, yeah, just amazing. So again, really well fleshed out characters. The story that Rainbow had to tell about Eleanor's life and the difficulties that she had with it were, I think, again, really important, and it made me want to pick up a lot more of her work. So I've got Fangirl on my shelf that I really want to get around to, and I will be picking that up at some point soon. But yeah, Eleanor and Park, absolutely loved it. Number 4 on my list is When I Hit You by Mina Kandasamy. This was my favourite book on the Women's Prize shortlist for this year. So this was the one that I really wanted to win. It didn't, but I still really enjoyed Home Fire as well. So that wasn't too much of a kind of disappointment for me. But this tells the story of a married couple, and it's about a situation that the wife has gotten herself in where the relationship is really abusive. And I think it's based a lot on the experiences of Mina Kandasamy herself, and it's really confronting in terms of the different types of abuse that can occur, how you can get yourself in these kinds of situations and not necessarily realise who somebody is. And I felt that was really important, because I think sometimes you can trust someone that you meet, and you can trust them knowing them for years and years, and then all of a sudden one day they show their true colours. And that has been true in my life of a couple of different people that I've met, and so I could really relate to how you could get yourself in a situation like this. Yeah, and so there was a lot of commentary on that and about kind of fighting back and things, and yeah, it's a book that would be really triggering in terms of domestic abuse and things like that, but it's one that I think is so important to read. Number 5 on my list is Places I Stopped on the Way Home, a memoir of chaos and grace by Meg Fee. This is one that I picked up from the library and is the first non-fiction book on this particular list. And the reason that I loved this book so much is because I just felt like I could relate to a lot of the experiences that Meg Fee was talking about. So this is basically a memoir where she talks about her 20s, living in New York in her 20s and trying to find love, basically. And a lot of the things that she was talking about I could really relate to, plus I loved the backdrop of New York, and it made me think that I must read so many books that are set in New York and are about New York, because I just love that city so much. When I read it, it made me nostalgic about the 2 times that I've been there. I just want to go back so badly. So yeah, this is a great one to read if you are in your 20s and you're in that kind of situation, but also if you can relate to what it was like trying to find the right relationship for you and what it was like to be in your 20s. Yeah, it's such a great read. Number 6 on this list, and another one that I got out from the library, was Far From the Tree by Robin Benway. This is a YA contemporary story, and it's about 3 siblings who are meeting for the first time because they were all adopted by different families when they were very little. So their mum gave them up for adoption. What sparks their meeting is one of the main characters, and I can't remember any of the characters' names off the top of my head, is pregnant before the novel starts and decides to give away her baby, and she knows that she was adopted, so that kind of sparks her trying to find her birth mother and kind of, I suppose, trying to work out why she made that decision, and you know, try and get rid of some of the guilt that she feels for making the same decision. The reason why this one was so great was because each of the 3 main characters had such complex things going on in their lives, and I could relate to a lot of the things that were going on in there again. So I just felt like it had so much to say about my life and some of the things that have happened to me. and yeah, is another really important read for teenagers, I think. Again, really emotional. I was crying at the end of the book. This was another one that I buddy read with Lisa from Books and Smiles. We both cried at the end of this one. Couldn't put it down. Loved it. Number 7 on this list, and yet another one that I had out from the library, was White Chrysanthemum, and this is by Mary Lynn Brott. I had heard about this one over at Krista's channel from Books and Jams, and I've heard a few people talking about it since I've read it. And yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. So this is another one also that I had on one of my Book Buzz videos last year, and one of those will be coming up on my channel soon for the first few months of 2019, so look out for that. But yeah, I had this on one of my Book Buzz videos also, so I was really intrigued to read it. And it basically follows two sisters, and it's got two different timelines. One is kind of present day, and one is during the Second World War. And it basically follows the sisters at different timelines because they were separated when some Japanese soldiers kidnapped, essentially, the eldest sister and took her away. And her younger sister never saw her again and doesn't know what's happened to her. So the modern day timeline that we're following is one where you know, she's got a lot older, and now that she's coming to the older years of her life, she's starting to think again about what happened and whether she can ever find her sister again. And the second timeline that's set in the during the years of the Second World War follows the elder sister and what happened to her when she was kidnapped. It's absolutely devastating, it really is. I've never really read a book or knew anything about you know, the Japanese occupation of Korea and what was going on in that particular part of the world. I don't really know enough about it. This book certainly opened my eyes to a lot of what was going on. What happened to the older sister, you know, what she went through was absolutely devastating. And yeah, it was just, it wasn't it wasn't the best book in terms of like being really well written, but I still really enjoyed her writing. And this is, I believe, a debut novel as well, so it's her first novel, and I will definitely be picking up anything else that she brings out. And I think, you know, the reason this got 5 stars for me is just because, again, that kind of real emotion, the heartbreak that was in the book, and just the way that she weaved the story together was absolutely fantastic. Number 8 on this list is the second non-fiction book that I want to talk to you about today, and it is Educated by Tara Westover. I read this on the way, at the back end of my summer holiday this year and on the way home from that summer holiday, and I basically read about 70% of it on the flight home. I could not put it down, and if I think about what I'm normally like on flights, I tend to be quite jittery, so not jittery in terms of like scared of flying, because I'm not scared of flying at all, but jittery in terms of, you know, I think I've got this big chunk of time and I think I'm going to get so much done in that time, and I tend to be kind of like flitty between different things, because yeah, there's nowhere for me to go. Once you're on a plane and you're off, there's nowhere to go, is there? But anyway, that was a bit of a tangent. So my point was that for this to hold my attention so well that I didn't want to put it down for the entire flight really says something about how great this book is. This is basically a book, this is a memoir, Tara's memoir, where she basically talks about living in a deeply Christian, I think it's a Mormon family. What does she say? I think it's a Mormon family. Yeah, her family were deeply religious. Her dad believed in the end of days and was preparing for the end of days. Her family had never really visited a doctor. She'd never been to school, along with a couple of other siblings that were younger in the family. They didn't really believe in having much interaction with the outside world. And it's about her growing up in that family and then kind of making the decision to go and educate herself and what happens with her education and things like that. And some of the things that have gone on in her life are just astounding to read about. And so that's what makes the outcome of her life just so much more inspiring. So yeah, I can't stop thinking about this one, and it's one that I definitely want to reread. So I've put it on my wish list on Audible. I definitely want to kind of download it and listen to it perhaps again this year, and it's one that I keep on nagging my husband to read because I think he'll really appreciate it too. Again, a BookTube favourite, probably on a lot of people's lists from 2018, but if you're wondering whether the hype is worth it, 100%. And finally, number 9 on the list, and one that has got a lot of hype on BookTube as well, is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is one that I read for the book swapathon at the end of the summer. So it kind of tells you, doesn't it? I didn't have any favourites from September, October, November, December. That's a bit of a shame, isn't it? But anyway, this one follows Evelyn Hugo, and she invites a journalist round to her house, and she asks this journalist to write the biography of her life. And all through the years of her life, there have been lots of people who have asked her about her life and have wanted to know more about it and to, you know, to write her life and things like that. But she employs this kind of little known journalist to do it. We don't really know why she's picked this particular person, but she tells this journalist all about her life and about her 7 husbands. And it's a very colourful life. It's a life where she has done a lot, seen a lot, experienced a lot, and it's just absolutely fascinating. So again, if you're wondering, you know, I mean, is it worth me picking this up? Yes, definitely. So intriguing, such a good contemporary book, and yeah, a very worthy favourite on this list. So there you go guys, they were all of the books that were my favourites of 2018. Stefan is currently putting his list together, so I will have a video up on my channel where he talks about his favourite books of 2018 as well, so look out for that. But I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments below. Have you read any of these books? What did you think of them? And what were some of your favourites from 2018? Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.